For the last few years, AI has been getting cheaper. Every few months, a new model arrives that is more capable than the last one and costs less to use. The price of running an AI query has been falling consistently. Companies have been competing aggressively on price to capture users, and most people have come to assume that this trajectory, more powerful, less expensive, is simply how AI works. That assumption is about to be tested, because underneath the rapid software progress is a hardware reality that is moving on a very different timeline. And that hardware reality is now creating a supply crunch that could change the economics of AI in ways that most people have not yet priced in. Every time you use an AI tool, ask a question, generate an image, get a summary, that interaction requires processing power. Specifically, it requires specialized chips called GPUs, housed in enormous data centers, running constantly to handle the volume of requests coming in. The demand for that processing power is growing exponentially. Every new user, every new application, every new company building AI into its products adds to the load, and the supply of the hardware needed to meet that demand is struggling to keep up. This is not a minor bottleneck. It runs through the entire technology stack. The chips themselves, the GPUs that power AI systems, are in critically short supply. One company, NVIDIA, accounts for the majority of the world's AI processing power. Demand for their chips so far exceeds supply that companies are resorting to using chips that are 2 or 3 years old, ancient by technology standards, simply because newer ones are not available. The manufacturing of those chips is an equally concentrated problem. Most of the world's advanced AI chips are made by a single Taiwanese company, TSMC. There is no meaningful alternative at the scale required. TSMC is expanding capacity, but building a chip fabrication plant takes years, not months, and it goes further than chips. The transformers, switches, and basic infrastructure components needed to build and run data centers are also in short supply, with lead times stretching to 3 to 5 years in some cases. The tech industry is running out of the physical equipment needed to run the AI it has promised. The response from the technology industry has been predictable: spend more. Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and other major cloud providers are collectively spending hundreds of billions of dollars building out AI data center capacity. It is one of the largest capital expenditure cycles in the history of the technology industry. But there is a fundamental problem with this response. Software and hardware move on entirely different timelines. AI software improves in months. A model released today will likely be superseded by something significantly more capable within 6 months. The pace of software progress has been genuinely extraordinary. Hardware takes years. Building a data center from scratch takes time. Manufacturing the chips to fill it takes longer. Building the fabrication plant that makes those chips takes longer still, typically 2 to 4 years from decision to production. This disconnect between software that improves in months and hardware that takes years to build means that the supply crunch is not something that more spending immediately resolves. The money being committed today will produce capacity in 2, 3, or 4 years. The demand exists right now. In the meantime, the companies building AI products are burning cash to keep prices low and maintain user growth. That is a strategy that works when capital is cheap and investor patience is high. It becomes harder to sustain when hardware costs are rising and the timeline to profitability keeps extending. So what does all of this mean in practice? The most direct consequence is the one the title of this video describes. AI tools that have been artificially cheap, priced below cost to capture market share, are likely to face upward price pressure as the hardware shortage deepens and companies are forced to cover their actual costs. Some signs of this are already visible. Anthropic has changed its terms of service to discourage heavy usage during peak times. OpenAI shut down its video generation tool, Sora, to redirect scarce computing resources toward more profitable applications. These are not permanent solutions. They are signals that the supply of processing power is not keeping up with demand, and that something has to give. For individual users, this may mean higher subscription costs for AI tools they currently use. For businesses that have built products and workflows on top of cheap AI inference, it could mean a significant repricing of their cost base. For the broader AI industry, it raises questions about the speed of adoption. If the economics of using AI become less favorable than they have been, the technology is not going backwards, but the cost trajectory, consistently downward for the last few years, may be about to reverse. The supply crunch facing AI is in some ways a victim of its own success. Demand has grown faster than anyone anticipated. The infrastructure needed to support that demand requires physical components that take years to build, and the concentration of critical parts of the supply supply chain in a handful of chip designers, a single dominant manufacturer, a limited number of data center builders, means there are no quick workarounds. Whether this becomes a serious break on AI's development or a temporary friction that the industry works through depends on how long the bottleneck lasts and how much it costs to resolve. What it has already done is introduce a reality check into a conversation that has sometimes moved faster than the physical world can support. AI progress is real, but it runs on hardware, and hardware runs on time. At Macro Breakdown, we break down the economic forces shaping the world, clearly and without the noise. If this video gave you something to think about, subscribe, and we will keep covering the stories that matter. Drop any questions in the comments below.